Welcome back to the channel. Liam Douglas here, and in today's video I'm going to be doing some street photography with the Fujifilm X100V and X100VI. I just got this Arca Swiss compatible dovetail rail that I could mount both cameras on at the same time and attach them to a single tripod because I'm trying to get comparable images or as close to that as possible. Now they're not going to be 100% identical shots, of course, because of the distance between the cameras, but we're going to do the best we can. This is primarily to compare the resolution and the performance of the images between the 26.1 megapixel X100V and the 40.2 megapixel X100VI. But before we get into all that, let's go ahead and roll the intro. Okay, so as I mentioned before the intro, I'm here in Roxford, North Carolina. I've never done street photography here before, so I thought it'd be a good place to do it today. And first of all, I'm going to hit this Thomas window tinting building behind me just because it looks pretty cool. And I'm going to travel around the town and see what else I can photograph using both the X100V and the X100VI, and then you'll be able to compare the images for yourself later on. Okay, so on the way back from Oxford to my hometown of Roxborough, I came across this abandoned store that in the window says C.T. Gentry Store, and I can't help but wonder if the owner of this store was related to S&P Gentry and Sons, which has the little country store on the outside of Roxborough, up on the northern end of Roxborough along 501 as you approach Bowmantown Road, which is the road that we live along. And I apologize for the car noise. Passing traffic, there's not a lot I can do about that. But I figured I'd go ahead and get a shot of this building with both the X100V and the X100VI, and then I'll wrap up this video back at my home. Okay, so as you saw from the images, I was able to get some amazing images with the X100VI as well as the X100V. And again, these images were mostly to give you a comparison of the difference between the two image sensors, the 26.1 megapixel versus the 40.2 megapixel. So of course, with the X100VI and the higher resolution sensor, you get a lot more detail in your images. You've got more dynamic range. You've got a little bit more in the ISO performance, although even low light performance, the X100V is going to be a bit superior just because it has less resolution generally, fewer megapixels, so it's better high ISO, noise, no performance overall in photography and in your images. But again, I was able to get some great images. I was hoping to be able to shoot more content in Oxford, but it's a smaller town than Roxborough, as it turns. It has about the same population to 9,000 people, but the town itself is considerably smaller. And of course, being it was a Sunday, there wasn't a whole lot going on as far as people to photograph and stuff like that. So I got a bunch of buildings, I got some people at a distance, stuff like that. But I still think it gives you a good idea of the performance of the 0.2 megapixel sensor of the X100VI versus the 26.1 pixel sensor of the X100V. Now, next weekend, June 8th, I will be shooting the local 𝐂𝐎𝐍 and Coffee car show at the Theaterplex on the south side of Roxborough. I can't remember what it's called. It's Pinnacle Point or something like that. It's a bowling alley and arcade and stuff like that. That's where they hold the local 𝐂𝐎𝐍 and Coffee car shows during the warmer months of the year. Now, I missed the first couple. The first one for 2024 was in April, and I missed both the April and May one because we ended up in New York for 7 weeks. So unfortunately, I missed the first two, but I will be going next Saturday, Saturday 8th for that car show, and I will be using exclusively the X100. I'll probably take both of my conversion versions, the 28mm as well as the 50mm with me, just so I have a variety of focal lengths that I can use for the car show, and it'll be extremely easy and convenient, because both the conversion lenses are fairly small. They're lightweight. They do add a little of extra length and bulk to the camera itself, but nothing too terrible. Now, the X100VI does have built teleconverters, just like the X100V does, and with the 40 megapixel sensor, you can get better performance using digital teleconverters in the camera versus the ones in the X100V. But I just want to stick with native, so I'm going to take my two teleconversion lenses, the wide angle conversion lens and the telephoto conversion lens, to get 28, 35, and 50 millimeters from you respectively. All right, that's right. I'll wrap up this video. I want to thank you for taking the time to watch. Please remember to subscribe down below, turn on all notifications, and I will see you in the next video.